guys, welcome back to The Sims 4. We're doing a room build today. Voiceover is going to be a little bit different today. Unfortunately, I am absolutely swamped with work and I am sort of multitasking when I get a few minutes of free time. So I am recording a voiceover, but I am not looking at the footage. In fact, I am not even at my desk. I have written some lovely notes though because I really do love this room and I wanted to talk to you about it. And in order to maintain an upload schedule, we're getting a little creative. Boy, let me tell you, work is a little bit nuts right now. But that's okay. That is, I think, just a part of being in your 20s is sometimes you have to just have glass balls and rubber balls and you know which balls to drop. Okay, anyways, so we're jumping into this build. I love this. I'm calling this the secret attic library because in my head I imagined it being just like an unfinished attic and someone came in and just like put a wall in with a door, and now this part of the attic is their library, and I'm so here for it. I think I've talked about this before in speed builds that I have an unfinished attic and I have been told it is not a super small amount of space. It could, for a short person like me, actually be another room, and I keep thinking to myself, how amazing would an office in that space be? But of course, in real life, it's not like The Sims. You can't just shove a wall in there easy or shove stairs in there easy. There's major construction that has to happen and major simoleons in real life that have to happen. But in The Sims, we can do stuff like this. I built this as a room. It actually builds out as 2 rooms because of the little bump out, which we'll get to in a minute. But for upload, don't you worry. We'll just remove the spandrel, make it all 1 room, and then you'll just have to add the spandrel back in when you're ready. But I do think it's an appropriate size for a big enough house. And I do say big enough house because you would probably be looking at something a little bit bigger to be putting a secret attic room in. Or it would be maybe under a roof line in like a cottage where the roof is pretty prominent, like an English cottage. They have pretty prominent roofs. Something like that would work. But just to pop it in a space, I think that would work really well. When I started building this, my goals were small. My goals were cozy, kind of dark feeling, but not dark. Like, I want a word different than cozy. There's one that's on the tip of my tongue, but you know what I mean, where it's sort of like closed in and warm and like vaguely cabiny. That was kind of the goal, but also I wanted lots of fun. I wanted it to feel like someone's escape space. I wanted to use the Crystal Creations bookshelves because that ladder is everything I dream about in my life, and I wanted a place to be cozy and curl up. For me, it would be with my dogs. For someone else, it might be with their cats. I wanted cozy places. I went with a small fireplace. Originally, I was thinking something bigger. Originally, I was thinking something stone because I was thinking attic, and I was thinking, well, you could just maybe there's an existing chimney. Maybe that chimney doesn't get used right now because this house has been renovated and you could tap into that chimney. And then I got to thinking that's a very dangerous game to play in real life, and so maybe that's a very dangerous game to play in The Sims. So I did a smaller fireplace with the idea that it was maybe one of those electric ones that rolls, you know, like a lot of, like my grandma has one where it looks like a full-on fireplace when you just set it and leave it, but it's not attached to the home. It's a plug-in fireplace. And there's a few different versions of that, and some get very fancy and expensive, and some don't, and some go in RVs, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. And so that's what I was kind of imagining up here. I was like, this is not a permanent feature of the home, but they dropped some bank to make this look nice. So that's what I ended up picking with the fireplace. And I also thought it made sense being in an attic, something that could be moved up the stairs with a couple people, something that could be changed around, because I'm assuming the attic staircase probably isn't like huge, right? So I wanted wood walls. I did put a plaster wall in. You'll see that happening at the very end because I kept going back and forth on what I wanted to do, but I ended up deciding the side walls and the wall with the window are all wood because those were the existing walls. And then there's a plaster wall which we went ahead and painted, like a Latham plaster wall that we went ahead and painted pink-ish. That would be sort of the new wall, and it lightens it up in there. It makes it not quite a cave. It makes it very much a nook, which I'm very, very happy with. The window seat is something straight out of my dreams. I love the idea of a window seat. I've always wanted a window seat. There are at least 2 good places in this house that would be, in my personal house, that would be contenders for a window seat, but people are using them for other things right now. But make no bones about it, I say every time I see those spaces, hey, you know what would go there? A window seat. One day, folks, don't you worry, I'm not giving up on it. Having said that, this window seat is amazing that it lives in the Sims room. And I can definitely see curling up with it. And it gave me a space to decorate with that plant curtain, which I have never been able to make work. I love the idea of it. I love the idea of a curtain of plants like that, like a plant growing up over your curtain rod. I think that's beautiful. And my mom was a school teacher for 30 years. In her classroom, she would never turn the overhead lights on. She always had just a billion lamps and a billion plants. Her room was the definition of cozy. And if I recall, at one point, she had some sort of spiny, like stringy little plant. I cannot remember what it was now, growing up over her windows until the fire marshal yelled about it. But she did, and I thought it was cool. And so I kind of tried to mimic that here. I put curtains up, and then I put the plant curtain up over the top, so it kind of looks like it's like interspersed among the curtains. I think it looks really cool. I hope it continues to layer correctly. I haven't seen it do anything dumb. It is unfortunately The Sims 4, so it might layer funky, but I thought it looked really, really cool. And again, how often do you get to use that? How often does that plant have a home? Like, it's a very cool idea, but how often do you have a window that works with? So I was really excited to get to use that, and it sort of kicked off the I could put plants everywhere vibe. And then I got to use my beloved pothos. I love that plant. I am so grateful they gave us that plant. Holy Moses, that is. And the swatches are amazing, you guys, on that plant. The swatches are just fantastic. I'm sitting here just thinking about it. I'm not even looking at that video. I'm not even at my desk, but I can imagine like 6 of those swatches right now. I'm like, I love that one, and I love that one, and I love that one. I love that pothos plant. So, we tried to put a mirror above the fireplace. I wanted that big leaning one. I thought it would look cool there, but then it was too tall, and I forgot about the whole you can't size mirrors down thing, so that ended up not working. But it's made me really want a mirror to go above the fireplace that is leaning, that adds texture and dimension to the wall. Basically, I want those like 2 leaning mirrors that they gave us. I love those. Those are my favorite. I love things that lean on the wall. We've talked about this before. I love when art leans on the wall. I would love for them to give us smaller versions of those mirrors. That'd be great, because I love the idea of a mirror leaning on a fireplace. And I actually have done that before. I believe in the French apartment build, I got that to work because the ceilings were taller and it looked okay and it filled the space appropriately. Here the walls are smaller, and they need to stay smaller because they were in an attic, and so that mirror unfortunately did not work, but we put some really pretty art over the top. Lots of the book nook clutter here because obviously it's basically a book nook. But I love the idea that there are actual books in the game now that match those book covers, that mean you can have your favorite book on your wall. That is such a cool idea. It's actually something that I've been looking at in my real life room, where I've been like, I wonder if I could take some of the covers off my favorite books, like my childhood books, books I've loved now, scan them, blow them up, turn them into art in my room. I think that'd be really, really cool. And it turned out great, and we ended up doing that in a few different places. And it also helped bring a little bit of color in, because originally I was going to do the mirror because we started getting a little bit of like a dark wood antique-y vibe. The chair that's sitting in front of the fireplace doesn't look all that comfortable, but it really fit the vibe. So I was like, it's fine, put some pillows in it, you know, we'll live. Has a little table. And there's kind of two different places you can crash now. So there's a little bit more structured chair, and there's the little nook area, the little window seat. So I figured it was okay. But the leaning mirror would have sort of tied that antique look together, whereas the art is just a little bit more pop color, different vibe, totally acceptable for both. I love both, and it still works out great because with the stack of books and the multiple stacks of books and the bookshelves, you still get that like slightly vintage, older vibe. I think it works out just the same. But I think that's all I had to say about this. I really love this room. If this room existed in real life, I promise you'd never see me. I'd always be in there. If I wasn't down at the barn, I'd be in the book nook. But anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and go. I hope you're having a great day and a great week, and that you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you, and you've made my world a better place because you've given me something fun to come do, a fun community to come hang out in when I'm feeling stressed like this. I'm so excited to get to talk to you every week, and I can't wait to do it again soon. Okay, I'll talk to you all later. Love you, bye! Mwah!